guys, it's Kales, and I'm doing something a little bit different today. For those of you who may not know, I am a writer, specifically a playwright. I've won some awards, done some things at my college, and that's what I want to do with my life. So needless to say, I am a huge fan of plays. I've been in theater since I was 8 years old, and since then I have had a lot of plays that I love and that have influenced me as a writer, and I want to share some of them with you guys. I also think it is a type of literature that is most commonly ignored, which is understandable because a lot of people like seeing plays rather than reading them, but I'm one of the weird ones that actually likes reading plays as much as I like seeing them. So without further ado, here are some of my favorite plays. First off, I have to start with my favorite playwright of all time, and that is Tom Stoppard. Tom Stoppard has written several works, won Tonys for Best Play. He's amazing and brilliant, and I absolutely adore him. So much so that in high school, I wrote a 4,000-word essay on his play, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, which is a parody off of Shakespeare's Hamlet. You don't have to have read Hamlet to read Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. However, it does help with the characters and understanding a lot of the humor that's in the play, but it's not a requirement. A recommendation, more like. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead is based off of the two characters, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern in Hamlet, who are Hamlet's best friends, and it's Hamlet from their perspective. It's an absurdist piece that is absolutely hilarious, makes you think, and is really just so good. I've seen 3 different productions of it, and I've liked each and every one. My absolute favorite production of this that I saw was that they had a scrim upstage, and they performed Hamlet in the background, while on stage you saw the performance of this, but backstage you would see visual images of key moments from Hamlet, which was brilliant! While I'm on the topic of Tom Stoppard, I want to mention one of my absolute other favorite plays of his, which is Arcadia. And Arcadia is about the unreliability of history, and it takes place in the same location but in 2 different time periods, and they are on stage at different times and then eventually are on stage at the same time, and it's just brilliant and amazing. And I've never actually seen it in production, but I've seen clips of the most recent Broadway revival. One of these days I want to see this show. It's so good. The next play that I'm going to talk about is not one that you've probably seen in schools, but was highly influential to me when I was in about 8th grade, and that is All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten by Robert Fulghum. This play is based on Robert Fulghum's book, All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. However, I like the play better than the book itself because I like the dramatization of it and the visual elements. It has one of my absolute favorite short stories ever, called A Fragment of a Mirror. There's music in this play, which also makes it very interesting. And I first saw it when I was in about 7th or 8th grade at the Aurora Fox Theater. They only used chalkboards in their set, and they would draw props and set pieces that they needed on the chalkboards and would use them as like a dining room table or as like a background for Grease. It's a wonderful play that's very, very visual, and to this day I love using weird things like chalkboards in sets. The next play that I want to talk about is Bernard Shaw's Pygmalion, which many of you may know is the original My Fair Lady and original Pretty Woman. Pygmalion follows the story of Higgins, who takes on Liza and tries to make her into a refined woman. If you want to see the most recent modern adaptation of it, then check out Classic Alice, which is a YouTube series about a girl who starts living her life based off of classic novels she reads, and Pygmalion is one of the books that she picks, which, yes, is not a novel, but still, she includes it. I was turned on to Classic Alice by Thoughts from Nowhere, which I'm so grateful for because I binge-watched the living daylights out of it, and I'm so excited that it was a great new YouTube series for me, especially that, you know, Lizzie Bennet Diaries is over and Emma Approved is over, and it's my new favorite. So check Pygmalion out as well as Classic Alice, all of which I will link down below. The next play that I want to talk about is The Children's Hour by Lillian Hellman, which this is not The Children's Hour, this is just an anthology of Lillian Hellman. A lot of my plays that I own, I either own in anthologies or like stacks of paper that I used the free copying at my college so that I didn't have to pay for them. Lillian Hellman wrote The Children's Hour, which is about 2 women who watch a group of girls and then in the time, which is like the 1930s, are accused of being homosexuals, and that's why they live together, and it causes some tragedy. And it's not a very happy play, but it's a very intense play, and I think it's a very interesting look on rumors and he said, she said type of deal, and it's just very fascinating. I did my very first monologue in college from The Children's Hour, and I've loved Lillian Hellman and the play ever since. It's also an excellent movie with Shirley MacLaine and Audrey Hepburn that you should check out. The next play that I want to talk about is one of my favorite comedies, and that is Moliere's Tartuffe. I adore Tartuffe. My college did a production of it, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious. I love the translation by Richard Wilbur, which puts the play into rhyming couplets in iambic pentameter, and so it's a lot easier to follow and easier to read, in my opinion. When my school did this, actually, I was asked to write the, like, opening turn off your cell phones jargon thing at the beginning of the play in iambic pentameter rhyming couplets, which was so much fun, and I absolutely loved it, and to this day it's still one of my favorite things that I've ever written. Tartuffe follows a thief. It calls him a fraud and a pious imposer, which is fair. He's sort of like inserted himself into this high class family, and he's sort of tricked the man of the family into, you know, giving him all his wealth and his daughter, and lots of things ensue. It's a hilarious play, and my school put on a fantastic production of it, and I can't wait to see more production someday. Next, one of my absolute favorite plays was one that I stage managed in college, and that is Almost Maine. Almost Maine tells the story of a little town in Maine called Almost, because they don't actually have a town name, they're just like a town Providence. Then they got numbers and stuff, so they call themselves Almost Maine. And it centers around different people in the town and different love stories, and it's magical realism, and it's so creative. I've seen 2 productions of it, the one that I've seen 3 productions of it, actually. One at the Aurora Fox Theater, one at Kennedy Center American College Theater Festival, and one at my college. And it never gets old. To me, I think there's so many different ways to do it, and you can do it with like 24 actors or 6 actors or 4 actors. This actually only calls for 2 men and 2 women. It's a different 10-minute shorts with different men and women in it, and I think it's just delightful and heartwarming and heartbreaking, and, you know, all just centers around this little town and falling in and out of love. Doesn't get much sweeter than that. But this is one of my Norton anthologies. One of the first plays that I'm going to talk about is Master Harold and the Boys. I never actually read the play until after I had seen it, and I had seen one of the most amazing productions of it at the Kennedy Center American College Theater Festival by the University of Evansville. Master Harold and the Boys is set in South Africa, and it centers around 2 black men and 1 white man, and the white man is younger and is the son of the owner of the black men, and they run this shop, and it's this like 90-minute continuous action play that I could only ever hope to aspire to write something so brilliant and so engaging, and then those performances alone were, oh my gosh, amazing. I just remember like how the guy ate soup. There was no soup in the bowl, but like you were so convinced about him eating soup. Oh my gosh, I had never seen an audience stand up so fast at the end of that show. To this day, it is one of my favorite plays and something that I aspire to write a 10th of that brilliance. And the next play that I want to talk about is by Carol Churchill, and it's called Blue Heart, and it's actually 2 one-acts smushed into a play, and the first one is one of my favorites because it, to me, is like the writer's thought process. Because it like starts out and it's like the same scene repeating itself over and over again, and yet different things happen in it. Like at one point, like a chicken runs across the stage, and like another point, 2 gunmen come in and just shoot all the characters, and the scene starts over again. There's other times where some people talk about different things and whether it's too boring, and it's just this awesome collaboration of a writer's thought process, in my opinion. And then the second act is a conversation between a man and a woman, and throughout the play their words start being replaced with blue and kettle. Eventually, towards the end, all they're saying is blue and kettle, and yet they're still maintaining this conversation that you can understand even though their words are nonsensical, and it's just mind-bogglingly brilliant. Last but not least, I want to talk about Susan Lloyd Park's The American Play, which is one of my favorite plays that I've read, and really inspires me to be unconventional, truly. Like, there are parts where she puts in brackets just rest, and then there's lines that don't have words. Like, the characters say things, but it's blank words. Or there's like parts where she's like got them just yelling, and it's like lies, you know, with multiple I's and multiple S's in all caps, and it's just very unconventional and brilliant, and to me expresses a lot of creativity on what you can do, and you don't have to follow all the rules. You gotta know the rules so that you can break them. So these are some of the plays that I think that are worth a read, worth a see, and to me, I don't think that drama is talked about enough on booktube, so I wanted to take some time and do that. Let me know if you've had to read any of these plays in school or for fun, or if you've seen any of these shows, and tell me about some of the productions that you've seen. I'd be fascinated to start a conversation with you guys about this, because this is truly a topic that I understand and love. Until next time, bye! At my college so that I didn't have to pay for them. There's a hair. That's gross. Tartuffe follows a thief. Well, he's kind of a... well, what is he? A more recent modern adaptation of it is the YouTube series Classic Alice, which was turned on to me by Thoughts on Tom's. No, that's the... what's her name? Oh...